All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the race between GMan and Lightron. Yeah, I'm gonna commentate with Hey there.
Hello.
What's up? All right. We're gonna have an interesting race today. I think both of these runners are very, very good at the game and able to get some good times. And I think we're gonna have a close one here.
For sure.
It looks like we're counting down, and we're about to go in the race.
So I guess we should mention that this league is sponsored by Plan B Esports, and there's also a prize pool for this, which is right now 250 euros, and there should be a donation link in the chat for contributing to that prize pool if you want to. It is not contributed by things like bits or subs, only by the donation link.
Exactly. All right. Looks like we're going. There we go. Alright, GMan with a PB of 101.18 here, and Lightron barely over 1 hour with 1:08.08. So we have like a 1 minute difference here, but I think this is still a good race for sure. Alright, wait.
Looks like there's a bit of a difference in loads. I'm pretty sure that GMan is on physical, so that is to be expected.
Oh, I see. Yes, we see a small difference here.
Yeah, the difference is around a second and a half, if I'm not mistaken.
Here in cap?
Yeah, just
about
from the first load.
Yeah. Yeah, the first load is probably the worst one, and like it's basically the main difference between digital and physical. I think in total it's about like 10 seconds.
Around that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just 1 second at the beginning. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's even slower than 1.0, which is weird to think about. It's just a weird load overall, pretty much. Like, sometimes you can get, like in the BTT, I got like a 1 in a million chance, like, well, not really, but it felt like it. It was like a really fast load out of nowhere, not even outside of like the range of what you should normally get. It was weird. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's pretty unexplainable.
I didn't know that's the thing actually. Right, Lightron going for triple left side and GMan for vault. But otherwise, both got it, and it's looking pretty good so far. I don't expect any of the runners to go for DSS here. Especially in general in the qualifiers, I don't think anyone is going for it. It's just too risky. Too high of a risk for just those 10 seconds of a time save.
Yeah, in a race where it's basically a no reset, you can have like the other person waste like 10 or more seconds easily, and that will have the same like time save as like you getting DSS, you know.
Oh, Gannon just did DSS in a run? Oh, I see. I didn't watch the whole race, so I didn't see that. Alright, but yeah, I think Lightron doesn't even do it in attempts, and I think neither does GMan. So yeah, we are definitely not seeing it here.
Yeah, I know that Ganon does it in all of his attempts, I'm pretty sure, or their attempts, but yeah, as long as you're consistent, I guess, might as well go for it. But yeah, most of the time it's not consistent enough to just go for it in a race like this.
Exactly. But yeah, even without the trick, you can get very solid times.
Yeah.
Right, GMan having a bit of trouble getting the spin pound there, but not a big deal at all. So far it's a very close race, just like 5 seconds difference. Alright, coming up to Dinoskip. I lost 30 seconds to this in my race, so Lightron getting it.
Damn.
And GMan as well. Yeah, that's what happens if you do DSS in your attempts. You start missing Dinoskip.
Yeah.
Right. Both runners getting coins as well. Probably gonna see leg clip from both of them, so that's why they're getting a lot of coins here.
Yeah, both of them should be good on coins.
Definitely.
Because, yeah.
Right. Solid Madam Brood for both runners. Very well done. Alright. Maybe the racers are going to go for chest clip, but I'm not so sure. It is a trick that only saves about a second, and it's not too easy, but definitely not necessary to get good cascades. Okay, Lightron opting for the high cliff moon. Same for GMan.
Yeah, it only saves a second or roughly a second, and it's like, if you miss it, then it loses like 5 seconds or so. I'm not completely sure though. But yeah, it probably isn't worth it unless you have it really consistent. Same with DSS.
If you actually go for like the dive, but you actually miss a clip, then you lose about 5, yeah. But if you like see in beforehand that you missed it, then it only loses about 3, I think.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, both runners definitely getting DSTA here, not a problem at all. Very solid Captain Cascade. I wonder if you're gonna see any fast action guides. I assume no.
Yeah, I don't know if any of these runners are on version 9.2 or lower, which seems to be the last version to have fast action guide skip possible, which is kind of weird because it was okay. So basically, fast action guide skip was quote unquote introduced in version 5.0 of the Switch firmware because the fast action or action guide actually uses the Switch browser, but it doesn't like look like it really. Like it uses some sort of Switch browser in the firmware to access that. So basically, in version 10, people started noticing that they weren't getting it at all anymore, and only a few times have people actually gotten the trick. So it basically was quote unquote patched in version 10.0 of the Switch firmware.
And the only way these days to get it is to downgrade your Switch to an older firmware, which we talked about like 9.2, I think. Yeah. Which isn't that easy to do with a normal Switch. Let's just say it like that.
Yeah, and there are some models of the Switch where, as far as I know, it's not even possible to do that yet because it requires homebrew.
Yeah, and on the new Switches it's not possible to get an homebrew.
Yeah, yet.
Alright. Upcoming trick, we have Dram in Sand. Nice movement from Lightron there. Alright, looking good for Lightron here. Again, still a very close race. Okay, Lightron got it, and now GMan is attempting it. Looks very solid as well. Oh no, the weapon missed it, no. Yeah, that can happen sometimes. Sometimes Cappy is just in a weird position or something, or sometimes you can actually go too fast. That's why you can't home on the bullet bill. It seemed like that happened to GMan, but I'm not so sure. Also, you're having trouble here backing it up. It is gonna be very weird if you don't get it.
Lightron going for reverse Jaxi, which is... It only saves, like, what, a second? Or maybe less?
Maybe less, yeah.
So, yeah. It could be a lot more risky.
Ledge flipping there.
So that can happen.
Nice.
That's actually the first time I've seen a ledge clip there.
It actually happened to me today. It's pretty funny that we see it in the race as well. Yeah, but that didn't lose too much.
Yeah, but it definitely narrowed the gap between both of them.
Also, Lightron actually got a second bullet bill, which you can use to get to the cactus now. That's pretty interesting. But getting it, that's fine. Alright, now Lightron is more ahead, but it's still like, I assume about 10 to 15 seconds here. Still not that much. Okay, let's see if we can see a clean one spin throw. Alright, never mind. I think I jinxed it. Okay, never mind. It still worked. For me, it's always very weird if I don't get the vault to get the one spin throw notes, but probably not actually not a problem for Lightron. Very well done.
Yeah, and GMan having trouble with it. Even though he did get the vaults.
Yeah. Lightron actually, for sure, extended his lead here. Let's see. Lightron has, looks like a 10:33 exit here. Maybe low for 34. And GMan with a 51 or 52. So it's about 15 seconds, like 17. Still very close. Right. Coming up is a trick. From some runners not very consistent, but they still go for it. It's very hard. Leg clip, very precise trick. And you need a lot of practice to get consistent at it. So it could change here.
For sure.
Very clean by Lightron, second try. That's still very solid. Oh,
still got it.
Damn. So if you don't know what happened there, you can actually only wall jump on the left part of that out of bounds wall. And if you're too far right, Mario just, I don't know, just stutters on the wall and you can't wall jump or something. It's very weird. There's some very weird hitboxes in that area. But yeah, Lightron still managed to get it somehow. Also, apparently GMan also got a pretty clean leg clip. I wasn't really looking, to be fair. First try, barely any setup, nice. Alright. Then GMan definitely made up some time there.
So yeah, seems like the lead was narrowed a little bit more.
Definitely. I think Lightron had the 13.26 leg exit, which is still pretty solid, I'd say, for no research. And GMan with the 13.39, so we have like about 13 seconds difference. So GMan did save like 5 seconds over Lightron here. Coming up is a very important kingdom. There's a bunch of places where you can lose tons of time. Well, it is very hard.
Yeah, like you could miss nut clip, just like bonk everywhere because it's just a hard kingdom, I'd say. Mess up out of bounds movements, even fall in the deep woods, but that isn't too common. But we'll see.
Or even falling off while doing FRS and not getting the checkpoint, and you spawn back at the shop.
Oh yeah,
that's a bad one. Let's see if Lightron gets nut clip here. Pretty fast setup.
Oh.
I don't think that clips. Yep,
Unfortunately missing it, but going for the intermediate routes, which honestly, if I miss nut clip, I always forget to do it, even though it saves around like 10 seconds over the other route without nut clip.
And GMan getting it, so
yeah,
GMan might pull ahead here. The out of bounds movement is still very tough, but looks very good. Oh, Lightron.
yeah, I believe
that's not good.
Yeah, I believe that Lightron would have to also get an extra moon compared to GMan.
Exactly. Lightron needs to get the Piranha Story Moon. Oh, and also having trouble with ramp here. That's very unfortunate. And so, just like that, the lead has changed by quite a bit, probably. As we said, Wood is a very tough kingdom.
We're only like halfway through as well.
In this situation, Lightron also has to do the Flower Road skip from the Piranha Moon, which is, in my opinion, way harder. So that's also something he needs to do that could cause trouble.
Yeah, because it's like with doing it from like straight from the nut at the dead end moon, that's basically like just time your triple jump well. And with this, what Lightron is about to do is, well, it only saves 2 seconds against going the flower roadway, against like having to do it required from the, if you're not getting the Piranha Plant Moon. And it's basically like a lot more inputs that you have to do for.
As you guys maybe seen, Lightron had to do its spin pond roll cancel into a triple jump, and hitting the railing with a triple jump with that amount of speed is not easy at all. But Lightron did manage to get it. And now we're back to normal comparisons, so we can compare the runners again. And now you can just see how much of a lead GMan has gotten with this clean wooded. Entering Pipeway at 1756. It looked like Lightron, it looked like Lightron wanted to go for the talkative bounce, but barely missed him. And also ended up bonking here.
A spot is pretty scary for like worrying about going into the deep woods, which thankfully he avoided.
Alright, so We have about a 44-second difference here. Yeah, that's very unfortunate. But again, there's a bunch of stuff in the race to come. A lot of things can happen. That's for sure. Lightron also not getting the fast pipeway. This has been a rough wooded for sure. It happens. Alright, GMan getting the first phase fast hat. Not going for the hint dart. Fair, fair. Getting the hint dart in Cloud is faster because it doesn't lose any time here to get it. And because we need to collect 100 coins to buy a Moon in Snow. Most runners go for the Metro hint dart, but that one actually loses about a second or second and a half, I'd say. So it would actually save time getting the Cloud hint dart, but it's also not an easy strat at all. Other than that, very clean Cloud by GMan. Also, I did hear that GMan apparently did go to Lake Kingdom. Yeah, we saw a first try Lake clip from him, so pretty nice, pretty well done. And also Lightron did go for the hint dart here, and also gets the triple jump fast hat. Very well done. So it's gonna save about 1 to 2 seconds over GMan in Metro. GMan now in Lost Kingdom, also a very scary one. It's very short, just over 2 minutes, but a lot of strats in a small amount of time. We're going for a spin pound roll cancel triple jump here, very clean. GMan did manipulate the torpedo, so we might see reverse torpedo. No.
Lightron getting dive vault, green tree, which is pretty nice.
Very nice. Also, ooh, was about to say, also doing the triple jump butterfly strat, but ended up missing it unfortunately. Also, GMan opting for the stone cage instead of the iron cage. Fair decision. Cage triple is very, very hard, and I think stone cage only loses about 2 seconds. Other than that, very clean lost. Let's see if we see it reverse triple by Lightron here. Looks like it. Seems to work. Very well done. I think reverse torpedo saves about 3 seconds, so it's actually pretty much time save. It's just that you don't have to wait for the torpedo to actually destroy the stone block, stone cube. Because while the torpedo is like charging up to missing the dive on top of the platform. Yeah, while the torpedo is charging up to shoot Cappy, you can collect the moon, and it saves a bunch.
Yeah, that from Lightron only lost like a couple of seconds, like maybe 3 or 4 seconds. So it isn't that bad, but other than that, definitely a really clean loss from him.
Yeah, I think you lose about 2 seconds if you intentionally die there, but if you like go for the strat to get back up to the platform and then die, it's probably around 4 seconds here. Okay, it looks like GMan's actually on PB pace. Or is he? At least 1:24 PvT, which is definitely still PBable. Still a minute off Sob. Oh, Lightron having trouble with the jump up top of the building. Going for the Shirani bounce strat. I'm missing the bunch. Very unfortunate. There we go. Yeah, I haven't seen many mistakes from GMan here. I think only Sand King was very rough for him. But other than that, very clean run so far by him. Okay, Lightron going for Goomba Hack. Looks good so far. Very well done. That strat is very difficult. A bunch of quick movement tech in a short amount of time. Spin control, cancel triple jump, and then not getting hit by those mini Goombas is also not very easy. And it only saves about 1 second as far as I know.
Yeah, it seems like Lightron is going for a bunch of little time saves here and there just to catch up to GMan once again.
Yeah, Odyssey in general is all about little time save, especially in the top level. As far as I know, Lightron currently also grinding for sub-hour, playing a lot recently. I think the 1008 is also pretty recent. Maybe only a few days ago, or like a week. Okay, GMan now going into Day Metro.
Too bad of a wiggle from Lightron.
Yep, very clean wiggler. GMan attacking drive by, but not getting it. Backing up this Scoot Clip Moon is not easy at all. It's very important to have patience if you want to back this up, because if you're too impatient and you go too fast, it's very hard to get. But GMan not having any trouble there. That's an interesting strat. I've not seen that before. The dram that GMan just attempted, I don't know if it was intended to be like that, but he threw Cappy backwards, and after he grabbed the moon, he centered the camera to get the pull on screen. I've not seen that before, but it did work out. Okay, GMan going for slots, so we're definitely gonna see bullet building by both runners here. Lightron with a very clean drive-by. Well done. But GMan having trouble getting the right angle with the pole flick. Lightron definitely catching up right now. Ooh, damn, that was well reacted by GMan there. Not getting the capture on the bullet bill, but almost ground part into the void, but end up diving onto the platform. Very close. Lightron in a weird position here for slots. Okay, had to go for backup. If I had to guess, we probably still have around a 40-second to a minute difference here. Lightron actually getting the bubble capture, making up some time there, and also not destroying the bullet bill on the way to the moon. Because you have to have, I think you have to like have an specific angle to the top platform to not get destroyed, but I'm not sure.
So GMan globing at around 30:02. We'll see when Lightron gets there and see how far the gap is now.
So if my math is right, it should be about a minute.
Seems right.
But yeah, and this is based on like my gold entrance of this room and my gold, and then subtract that, you know. Yeah, this is not very accurate here.
Maybe a little bit less than a minute, like 50 to 55 seconds.
Yeah, it looks like 51.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like GMan has a pretty solid run. Could be PB picks for sure. 30-22. It's gonna be hard to be with this up, but I think it's possible for sure. Alright, we have another moon clip coming up here. If we check the GMan screen, I don't think he goes for it. Looks like he doesn't. Oh yeah, you can do a moon clip here to do like a shortcut to the loading zone of this room, and it saves about like roughly 1 second, I'd guess. And if you're familiar with moon clips, it's not too hard to do. Oh, that's a very unfortunate death by GMan.
Yeah, I should mention that.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. So I guess I should mention that Snow Kingdom, while it's not that long of a kingdom, it could also be one of those where a lot can go wrong. Like, as an example, dying here, dying in the Goomba room, potentially, and missing Snow Jam even a couple of times, potentially. So, yeah.
And we also just saw Lightron go for the moon clip, and he did get it. But messing up the cycle here, because the Spinies were in an unfortunate position. But yeah, GMan didn't end up getting the triple jump from the boosted platform. And that's why he got hit by the blowy Joey. That's what they're called. GMan not going for Goomba Vectors here. As far as I know, the Goomba Vectors actually save a bunch of time if you do them well. Around 2 seconds, I think.
Yeah, it looks like a small little thing to add, but it does save a lot, actually, for what it is.
It's also not. I mean, it's not so easy to do because you're moving on like such a thin platform, as you can see on the Lightron screen right now, and doing the vectors is not too easy. But yeah, both not going for the vectors. I think Tyron told me once it's about 2 seconds. Alright, we're gonna see GMan attempt Snowdrum here. Let's see the trick jump skills. Ooh, early capture maybe? Yep, the initial capture was, I think, a bit too early, didn't get enough of a vector in. So that was a lack of distance now. Yeah, GMan having a rough snow this time, so everyone caught up. Almost like very close again. Did get second try. Again, not an easy jump, not at all. Very close for Lightron, damn. But it worked. And just like that, it's less than 20 seconds again. Just about 13 or 14 maybe. Very close
narrowing
again.
the lead by almost 40 seconds.
Those things can happen. It's an reset, and you just gotta continue. Coming up, Seaside. Many people say Seaside is more of a chill kingdom, and you can calm down a bit, especially in PB attempts. But in my opinion, especially the first 3 moons have some very tough movement. GMan going for the dive, triple jump, Shirani bounce. Did get it. Bit weird, but did get it. Same goes for Lightron. Both having some trouble getting the wall jump. Lightron with a weird rainbow spin. But not a big deal at all. Yeah, and up until this point, when you capture the cheap capture, it's all about the lines. You can lose a lot of time actually if you don't have good lines with the cheap, and that's how you get good times in Seaside. I remember when I had like a 318 gold, and I watched the comp Seaside. And I didn't see much of a difference, and it's just the lines that save a bunch of time. It can save up to 5 seconds even, if you don't do them well.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous seeing how much time save is in something that's so like unnoticeable.
Definitely. Alright, GMan with a solid fish clip. If you don't know how fish clip works, so other than most of the kingdoms, Seaside is surrounded by like, it's more like a barrier that tries to push you back into the kingdom, and it's not like a wall or a cliff or like a void. But you can actually bypass this. You can bypass this barrier to some degree. If you use cheat shape and get into the barrier and uncapture it before you get pushed out of it, but then recapture the cheap, if you're back in the normal area, you can actually go a bit further, and with this strat you can actually go out of bounds and get to the treasure moon of the Sphinx, which leads to like a better route, which overall saves a lot of time. Now coming up to one of the scariest kingdom, I would say. Luncheon, there's a lot of stuff can happen. You can fall off anywhere. Fogs. The beginning part is, I guess, one of the easiest parts. I guess, even though you have to do salt triple. But otherwise, a lot of weird hitboxes in this kingdom, and a lot can happen in this kingdom.
Actually, pretty close from Lightron. Almost looked like he was gonna bonk there. But yeah, salt triple. It only saves like, I want to say around a second from experience, but it could be pretty devastating in its time loss. Like, if you miss it once, then it's kind of hard to get it again.
Yeah, one would think, well, yeah, it's just a triple jump, cat bounce, and a wall jump. Can't be that hard, but it's actually not that easy to get the right angle with the cat bounce. Sometimes you can get hit by like a small corner on the wall and you don't get any height at all. Or sometimes just triple jump is from too low of the salt pile and you don't get enough height. It's really not that easy. You really gotta maximize your height with the movement you have to make it. Also, I can mention again that this league is sponsored by Plan Esports, and they're also sponsoring the prize pool of €250. And if you want to tribute to the prize pool, you can use the donation link in the chat right now, and that's gonna increase the prize pool. Subs and bits are not increasing it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So far, Luncheon looks good for both runners. Only small mess ups, but nothing big yet. GMan opting to go for camera manipulator. Sorry. It is possible to get this portable without manipulating the camera, which we'll see by Lightron. Even going for roll cancel vector, but going for the cap on's a bit too late. Well done, backup though. Ooh, interesting. GMan doing like a Shirani bounce strat up to the moon on the cliff. I've not seen it very often before, but it looked pretty fast. Kind of having a bit of trouble with the cheese there, but ended up working. Oh, what? No, damn, that was a bit weird by Lightron there. Got like a small velo dive, and then slipped off the edge, but then got back onto it. Very weird. Didn't lose too much though.
Pretty nice cheese though from Lightron. I know that GMan had a little bit of some trouble with it. but not as much.
Yeah, we're about to finish lunch, and GMan with the last movement here. Can be very tough, but gets it, no problem. I think GMan did actually extend his lead a bit in lunch, and before this we had about this like a 13-second difference, and now it looks more like 20 to 30 maybe. Let's see. Ooh. Lightron not getting the movement I was mentioning. Well done backup though. He knows what he's doing. Alright, GMan with the 45 flat globe. Yeah, now it looks like we have about a 33-second difference here.
Yeah, going into Ruined, which most of the time doesn't change anything crazy, like between the two runners. But it isn't guaranteed. We'll see.
It is actually, in my opinion, it's actually pretty easy to lose time in Ruined. You just don't really notice it. Sometimes you lose up to 2 seconds here and you think, wow, what happened? Yeah, optimizing this kingdom is not easy at all. And most people don't practice this kingdom for obvious reason, because yeah, it's mostly an auto scroller. But that does cause often time loss in runs to up to 5 seconds.
Sure. Like just knowing like the order for some runners to do like the swords in, most of the time it can save a lot. Like if you're like, well, for these runners not as much, probably they already know like the order to do correctly, but some runners like maybe in the 110 range or something, I definitely recommend just like looking at a good ruined and just like trying to copy off of it as best as you can. That's basically what I did to get good at ruined.
Definitely, it's definitely not a good idea to just wing it and just unplug them however, but that can lose a lot of time. It's definitely a good idea to check a good rune out. Yeah, it would look good for GMan here. Lightron having a bit of trouble in the third phase here, but that's not a big deal. Probably lost around like 1 second. Right. I'm gonna check the BPTs. GMan BPT with 101.27. So actually pretty close to B. That's very solid. And Lightron with 101.45 at the moment. Coming up is Bowser's Kingdom though. Probably the last scary kingdom. GMan going for Bird Ram. Doesn't actually lose too much compared to crates. I think it's only about 1 second, 1 to 2 seconds.
Yeah, but it could like make it seem like Lightron is saving around 8 seconds on Lightron until like crates happens, which
Yeah, exactly.
actually, yeah, Lightron is going for.
Ooh. Fancy. Fancy
Yeah.
move from by Lightron there. Drop that. Having a bit of trouble ground pounding the ogre though. Looks like normal shots by GMan. I'm not sure if Lightron does go for new shots.
Seems like it.
Yep. See? Well done, well done. That triple jump is very tight.
I'm going for birdless as well.
Ah, it didn't work out. Very close though.
Breaking that, but yeah, missed the Owen.
Yeah, that shot strat is very difficult. I think it actually does save a good amount of time. But for most runners, it's not worth going for, because it's just very difficult.
Yeah.
And shots is already difficult as is. Lightron doing Bowser Ram. Don't think GMan did it. Looks good. Yeah, we're both runners in the harried fight at the same time, and Lightron still needs to grab the Great Moon, but this is still very close. And the deciding factor is definitely mech is gonna be a deciding factor.
Yeah, for sure.
No trouble with top fight for GMan. Let's see Lightron. Well done as well. Alright. So 5303 for GMan here. Looks like 5325. So yeah, that's about 22 seconds. If you add the crates moon, it's roughly 8 seconds, so we have about 30 seconds of a difference here.
Yeah, and even if GMan falls off a mech, like failing top required or target acquired or something like that, that can lose those 30 seconds for it to be even again. So yeah, this fight is definitely a deciding factor.
Let's see it. very good climb. Ooh.
Oh. Yeah.
And yeah, there it is. GMan fell off, and now it's looking very close again. This is gonna be very interesting.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Still like again.
Hitting top at 39. And Lightron 47. So it's only 8 seconds.
Yeah.
That's yeah, now it's very close again. And assuming Lightron has probably a better moon gold than GMan does, this could be very, very intense.
Yeah.
GMan target quiet. Looks good. Let's see Lightron. Oh god.
This is scary. Oh my god.
Oh my god. How did that even work? Alright.
Well,
Okay, that lost another like 10 seconds, I would assume. So now it's what,
you'd call that
15 to 20.
I guess you would call that second try. Target required.
I guess. Second try and very barely second try.
Yeah. It's like standing on the bubble for a few seconds before the break.
Alright, 56-39. About to exit from GMan. Yeah, now it's still almost 30. About 25. Yeah, that was a chance for Lightron to catch up, but unfortunately missed target acquired. Well, we'll see how Moonskip goes. I don't think anyone's gonna have trouble with that, but we can still see death in the 2D section and maybe even in pillars. It happens. It has happened before. Very clean vector by GMan here. Getting the maximum amount of speed by going in a 45-degree angle midair. Lightron missing the triple jump, unfortunately. GMan about to attempt Moonskip. Looks good. And also gets up. GMan is zooming at the moment. Moonskip looks good for a run as well. Oh. Commentator curse. Gets it though. Just a bit janky. So yeah, I guess it's around 30 seconds now, I assume. Maybe a bit more actually. It doesn't really matter because you can save 40. You can lose 45 seconds and more in the escape section. Let's see what happens. Lightron going... Lightron, I think, actually messed up there. Went for a damage boost in the second phase, which you cannot do. I think actually you can do it, but it needs to be very early. I think Lightron just messed up there.
Yeah.
Right. GMan actually on pace for 101 here, so it's very solid run. If you can finish it off. Very good lines here. Alright, let's see it. 2D skip.
Nice. And Lightron making it into escape.
I don't think GMan is sprinting with Bowser. I think a lot of people actually don't know this, or are just unaware. You can actually hold X and or Y to sprint with Bowser, and then use the other one, X or Y, to shoot fireballs, so you can do it both at the same time.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure that out, personally.
Oh, it looks like a very good first filler by GMan. Yeah, that's probably 6 out of 6. You only needed 5 there, but did a 6-1. Very solid fillers by GMan. Finishing off with the 1-1 for sure. That was a speedy move. Speedy monkey move for sure. Might be a goal. That looks like a 101.49. Very solid. Very solid.
Yeah.
Let's see Lightron finish it off. GG's. And yeah, as I said at the beginning, we have some good races here, and in this race anything could happen, and it did happen. Lightron having a bit of trouble with the last pillar here, but also getting to the main platform, finishing off with mid 1 or 2. So still a pretty close race. 30 seconds is not much at all. Looks like a 33. 34. Well done. GG's to both racers. Well done.
Yeah, GG's.
Both very solid times. And also GMan only with 30 seconds off PB. Very solid. Alright, it looks like we have GMan for the interview. I'm not sure about Lightron. Definitely in here. Alright, let's start with GMan, I guess then. GMan. GG's. GG's for the W. How do you feel about the run?
The run was honestly really good. Besides CCS, I got a 1051. It was pretty bad, but mid game definitely carried. Snow. I don't know what happened. But late game was really solid, and I don't know. I don't even know how I clutched that out.
Yeah, very well done. A very solid time. 30 seconds off PB. Very good. CCS, yeah, I think you messed up a lot in the Sand Kingdom.
Yeah, I got 511 Sand, but I just messed up a lot of stupid stuff. I think it was just because of like race nerves. Just that beginning of the race, and you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the rest of the run, very solid, very clean.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's see.
I also
So
golded
that-
too. I golded Lake. I got a 247. And I
47,
golded
very
Cloud
good,
by, like,
very well
0.1.
done.
So, yeah.
Don't know if Lightron is gonna hop in for an interview. Alright, there he is. What's
Yeah.
up, Lightron? GG's?
GG's to GMan.
Alright, so how did you feel about that run?
Not really good, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Everything went pretty bad. I practiced a lot today, and I don't know why at the beginning of the race my hands were pretty cold. I wasn't confident at all. And Woodhead, I tried to keep going after Woodhead, and it was hard to catch up. GMan played really well. So GG's to him again.
Yeah, GG.
I think you
Okay.
both played very well. Had some unfortunate mistakes, some unfortunate series of events throughout the run, but overall from both races, well done, I would say.
Yeah, I just
think-
hope I will do better next time.
I'm sure you can. Yeah, let's look at the Group D. So far, we have Lusteris and GMan with a win. 67 points for Lusteris and GMan with 64 points. And Lightron at 26 and Miwi at 23 points. That's what we're looking at right now, of course. This is just the first week. We still have 3 races to go for every racer. So a lot can change throughout the qualifiers. We'll see.
Yeah, thanks again for the commentary. It was pretty cool. I had it in the back. You did a good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, I haven't done too much commentating for SMO, but yeah, it was definitely fun doing it this time.
Neither have I, but I tried my best.
Go follow the comms, boys.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
also make sure to check out the races. Very, very solid players. If you want to look at some very well done gameplay and very good gameplay, then make sure to check out the Twitch channels, Lightron and Hey It's GMan. All right, I think if you guys have anything else to say, then go ahead. But other than that, we're done, I think.
Yeah, it's good for me.
Yeah, I think we're done.
And I think we have one more match to go. Title Tech versus King Carmen, seems like. So if you want to watch that, stay tuned. I'm sure it's going to be an intense match.